Happy day 32. And I wanted to ask you this. If somebody asked you, what's your superpower? How would you respond? Now, when I say superpower, I'm not talking about the sort of Marvel comics, laser vision, whatever that is. I'm talking about that main thing. That thing that without any learning to have to take place per se, has been a gift that you have. Why didn't I just call it a gift, right? Well, I didn't just call it a gift because I think you have many gifts, but I think your gifts might take time to be realized or mature, and your superpower is that thing that you've always had. Now, the reason this kind of became what I wanted to talk about was I was reading several different articles today, and they had to do with Steve Jobs and sort of his legacy. And I thought it was interesting when they were talking about when he was at Apple the first time and the type of leader he was, and then when he came back the second time, how he was a better leader. Even leaders are kind of an interesting thing, right? I mean, up until about the 70s, people used to believe that leaders were born, they weren't made. And I think they're connected a little bit, and here's why. Your superpower could be something that is one of the main skills that leaders possess. Now, depending on how you decide to utilize your superpower, you may use it in the form of being a leader. Let's say your superpower is influence, and you decide to lead teams. It can be an incredible gift, right? But if you decide to be a con artist and serve yourself, it could also be used. So Steve Jobs, back to what I was saying. So they try to say that what changed, like the gift that he had or that he learned, was listening by the time he came back. Well, I think his superpower never changed. And when I think about the interviews I've seen him do, the articles written about him and the feedback, my thought of his superpower would be a visionary. Drop my button. Meaning he could kind of see into the future. He wasn't afraid of that going forward and not necessarily knowing what's ahead because he had such confidence in his superpower, which was being a visionary. Now, through that, a visionary as well is certainly a leadership skill. I don't necessarily have that one. But for him, he learned how to hone it using other gifts or skills, and that was he learned how to listen. So his superpower became even stronger and even more relevant and significant. What's my superpower? If somebody asked me that, and I think all the way back to a child, I would have to say it's influence. I mean, I know I used that as the example earlier, but I think influence is the one that has been with me from the beginning of time. Now, I have other skills, behaviors, gifts that have come in that have helped support that. Probably one of the strongest ones I would say is strategy, meaning I've learned human behaviors and patterns and programmed questions and responses to the point that if I truly need to, or I'm in that mindset, I can look at a situation, usually be about 3 or 4 steps ahead of where it's probably going. Now that's a gift, if you will, that I've used to help strengthen my influence, but it's not necessarily what my superpower was, because I can't remember being able to do that as a child. So it's important that you figure out what is your main thing. Now, with that, how do you want to use it? So again, I was sharing mine's influence. If you ask some of my friends or coworkers over the years, they might say that it has something to do with, I have a phrase I always say, so if I hit a moment, it's bloody hell. Well, guess what? I apologize as if you're across the pond, because I know that can be offensive. But it's not really an English phrase, meaning United States of America phrase, but it's one that I use all the time, so it sticks with me. So that was random, but it's come up a couple times the last few days, so I felt like I'm supposed to share that. But what's your superpower, and how do you use it? Have a great day.